And this week we're finishing up with the rest of the plants that have been here for a year. I didn't realize that I'd been so active about a year ago, but I was probably trying to get in last orders before the cold weather hit, and I stopped ordering plants, which of course I don't do. I keep ordering throughout the cold weather. Sometimes well, you know how it goes. You find something you've been looking for, and it's available, and it's the middle of December, middle of January, and you go for it. So join me with a tasty beverage of your choice close to hand while we take a look at 9 more Hoyas 1 year on. And a shout out to the people who answered last week's question about what device do you use to watch the videos. It was pretty evenly divided between phones and tablets and laptops and TVs. And some people watch me while they're making dinner on Friday nights, and some people watch me Saturday mornings. Some people even go back to bed to watch me, which is, I don't know whether that's sad or not. The only thing that was somewhat disturbing was the person who mentioned that they watched me while they were driving. And you said not to come after you, and I'm not going to, but So with that tasty beverage, let's take a look at 9 more Hoyas that have been here for a year. And before we get to the official part of the video, I've got another one in bloom this week. This is my Hoya numelarioides. Now this has been really cute. It's just doing the end of its bloom thing. So let's see if I can hold that up where you can see it. But it's very pretty. There's quite a few peduncles. This one used to live up under the brighter lights. And then I started trying my darker leaf plants in a little bit lower light, and boy, this one loved that. So now it grows over here. See where it is now? That's where it usually lives. So yeah, this is really cool. I waited a long time for this one to bloom. This is Hoya numelarioides. And the first one up is somehow related to one of the favorites from last week. This is Hoya Lai Chau longleaf. Now again, I can't find any specific reference for either the round leaf or the longleaf, where they're from, who found them. The only thing I can find is a reference to Lai Chau province in northwestern Vietnam. There's Lai Chau City, and it's one of the most sparsely populated areas of Vietnam. So it seems like a likely place to discover new Hoyas. Now this one has a lot of the same incredible characteristics that the round leaf version had. And at this point, because I know so little, I'm guessing that they're the same plant, not a separate species or anything. And this one simply happened to put out long leaves and has continued to do so. The leaves are very pretty, very interesting, if it will. There we go. Same characteristics, nice raised veins, beautiful texture, nice little bit of splash, which is great. You know, it always makes the leaves more interesting. The only thing I've noticed is this one grew just a little bit slower than the round leaf. They got similar, they're in similar setups. And this one, it found the reservoir. So similar setups, similar food and care. I have no explanation, excuses or anything for the difference in the two. It's very pretty. I hope it grows a little bit more. I recently trimmed off some of the dead stuff, but it's doing fine. The leaves are good and firm. They're pretty. They're really pretty. So I would like to see more leaves like these. I would like it to be as lush as his round leaf brother, sister, cousin. Oh, that sounds like a weird family, doesn't it? So yeah, this one came from Hoya. No, pardon. This one came from Hoya on Etsy. And this is Hoya species Lai Chau longleaf. This next plant came to me as Hoya species Indonesia. But in doing the research for this video, I found a note from a reliable source that said that it has been classified and is now, this plant in particular, is a subspecies of Hoya danumensis. It's Hoya danumensis subspecies amarii. Now, Hoya danumensis, this plant, amarii, was first collected in 2014 in North Sumatra, Indonesia, in Padang, Sidimpoan, at about 900 meters. It was first published in 2019 in the European Journal of Taxonomy by Sri Rahayu and Michela Roda. And the name for the subspecies, amarii, comes from the name of the man who collected it, and that was Amar Hussein Sitompul. This has grown very nicely for me. Not a rampant grower. The leaves are pretty enough. There's little bits of splash. As you can see, little bits of splash on those. Cover me, show the plant. There we go. The leaves are not rigid, but firm. They're a lovely dark green color. And so I'm interested to see it bloom. If I remember correctly, danumensis has some really beautiful blooms. We'll take a look. There's a picture over here of what it looked like when it first arrived. And at this point, I can't remember, but I'm betting it was probably just these two original leaves down here. So it's doing well, happy with it. The leaves, I think, are really nice. It lives just about 1.5 feet, 2 feet back from my southeast facing window, so it gets nice early morning sun. It's in a self-watering pot. It has apparently found the reservoir. And yeah, I'm happy about this. This has done pretty well for a year. This also came from Hoya. Sorry about that. This also came from Hoya. And this is Hoya danumensis subspecies amarii. And third up today is my Hoya acicularis. Now, Hoya acicularis was found in the Danum Valley on Borneo, and it is native to Sabah and Brunei on Borneo, and it grows no place else naturally or in nature. It was first collected in 2002 and published in 2003 in Fraterna by Ted Green and Robert Dale Kloppenberg. And I read that it is distinct from every other Borneo species. The name comes from the Latin acicul, which means needle-like. And, oh yeah, that's the word. Well, there we go. I originally had this plant as a trailing plant. I thought, oh, this would be really nice, like my retusa. And so I had it, and it did okay. It grew fairly well. I'm pretty sure it was just a small cutting, and I've got pictures over here of what it looked like when it showed up. And then I saw a picture of it on a trellis. I think it was on Doug Chamberlain's site, Vermont Hoyas. And when I saw it on a trellis, I completely changed my mind. It's like, oh no, this needs to grow up. Mainly because the leaves look so nice when they're trailing back like that. So a couple of weeks ago, I moved him to a new self-watering pot and a vertical optimistic trellis. He hasn't found the reservoir yet, but there's a couple of leaves coming out, couple of roots coming out the side. So I think it's going to be okay. It slowed right down when I did the transfer. And I kind of expected that, but I think it's going to be worth it. I think a trellis of this is going to be just beautiful. Light and lacy, and these very cool leaves. They're skinny. They're really, really skinny. I think it's this one and Stenophylla. I'm looking over here because my Stenophylla lives over there. Have these super long, skinny leaves. So yeah, this is very pretty. Glad I got this one. I think it's been a good grower. I think once it settles in after the move, it's going to go back to being a good grower again. Yeah, I like this one. This one came from Plant Haven, Toronto, and I'm really happy with it. And this is Hoya acicularis. And next up, we have my little Hoya versteegii. Now, Hoya versteegii is native to Papua province of New Guinea, and it was first collected by Gerard Martinus Versteeg, who worked in the Dutch East Indies in the early part of the 20th century. It was first published in 2017 in Gardens Bulletin by Nathaniel Simonson and Michaela Roda. And I probably have a picture of what it looked like when it first arrived, and it looked pretty much like this. But it has put out 3 new growth points since then. I am told that this is a very slow grower, which usually for me, I don't pay attention to that stuff because most everything seems to grow really well here under my conditions. But yeah, this one has proven that slow grower thing completely and fully. I despaired of it for a while, but it's doing okay. It's growing. There are 2 new leaves on the end of each one of these vines. And after I read that it was a little bit slow growing, there was a comment that said that once it gets going, it does fine. The leaves on versteegii are supposed to be beautifully ruffled along the edges, and I think they'd be pretty. I mean, it's the OG leaf, and it's had a rough life. But I think they'll be really nice. I've seen this in large hanging pots. I haven't decided yet. I need to see more of it. And also the blooms are supposed to be killer. So yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed on this one. I looked a long time to find Hoya versteegii, and I did find a couple huge pots of it that were accompanied by a rather huge price tag, and I ain't doing that. So it's got new growth. We're happy about it. Like I said, there's new leaves, and I'll put some close-ups of the ends of the leaves, the new leaves coming in over here. And we'll all keep our fingers crossed for this one, and I'll let you know how it goes. It doesn't look like much for a year, but we'll see. This is Hoya versteegii. Now, I showed this one just a few weeks or a month or so, maybe 2 months ago. This is Hoya patcharawalai. And when I showed it, my friend Mona sent me a text. She said, I think I have one of those. And she went and opened up the plant mail she'd gotten, and there it was. This is an accidental cross of unknown parentage, which was first found, developed, grown at Hoyas in Thailand. And not only did she not even bother to get the father's name, we don't even have the mother's name. This was known as seeds 023, cultivar patcharawalai 023, Hecensis 023. It's also known as patcharawalai 023. I'm going with patcharawalai because I like that name. It sounds more interesting. And this one has done pretty well. I should have pictures of it when it first showed up. And I think it may have been maybe just 1 or 2 leaves. This one's got some damage, so that might have been one of the originals. Anyway, the leaves are just beautiful. They've got a nice color, nice margin. I'll put some other pictures of the leaves over here too. They're beautiful. It's got this gorgeous green color, this nice black margin. It's probably related to some kind of verticillata. Everybody is these days, but you know. It has a peduncle in there that has not, there we go, has not bloomed for me yet. It's tried to. And it looks like there's some dried nectar on there. I'll have to figure out what's going on with that. This one lives just inside my southeast facing window over here. It's been a good, slow, steady growth. Not slow, but it's just been a slower grower. I wouldn't call it a slow growing Hoya, but it's been a slower grower. It has found the reservoir, so it's getting all its nutrients. And we're going to see what happens. I like this plant. The blooms are supposed to be beautiful. And of course, you know, I think all Hoya blooms are really pretty. So, you know, what do I know? It's done well for me. I'm happy with it. I love the leaves. The leaves are slightly, somewhere between firm and rigid. They're slightly succulent. The stems are a little woody, which means it probably doesn't hold much moisture in the stem. And what it does hold is in the leaves. And yeah, we're going to see what happens with this one. I like this. This is my second attempt at it. The first one I can happily say was not my problem. The seller sent me, it didn't even look like this. The leaves didn't even look like this. They should have been ashamed of themselves for what they sent, but they won't get any of my business in the future. So, and I buy a lot of Hoyas. So anyway, this one came from TQ Hoyas. And the first one did not come from TQ Hoyas. This one did, the healthy one, the one that's doing well. And this is Hoya patcharawalai. And next we have one of my favorite little monsters. This is Hoya chinghungensis. Now, chinghungensis is native to south central China, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam. And it was first published in 1974, but it was published as a Discidia by Ying Xiang and Bingdao Li. But it was published again as a Hoya in 1995 by Michael George Gilbert, Pingdao Li, and Warren Douglas Stevens. And it was published in Novon, a journal for botanical nomenclature. This is a Hoya that I am very glad I got. I think I have a picture of what it looked like. I should have. I have a note that says I have an old picture. And it was just a tiny little thing. And it has since turned into this massive little beast. The leaves are, let's see, I probably have to do that. The leaves are very neat, very pretty. They are slightly cupped and I'm going to say slightly pubescent. They're not rigid. I would describe them as slightly firm. This thing grows like a beast. I mean, it's looking gorgeous. You gotta, that's a very pretty, very interesting Hoya. Let's see if somewhere there's a whole bunch of, see if I can get, down here. There's a whole bunch of new little starts on the end of most of the vines, which is very neat. It's very pretty. It bloomed early on. I mean, I was quite pleased. And the blooms, and I should have pictures of the blooms, are rather pretty. It bloomed a lot. It bloomed regularly. The only thing to keep in mind is it's a very thirsty little puppy. And if it doesn't get its moisture, it doesn't so much die, it just like sits back. It's like, I need a drink. I'm not doing anything till I get one. And once you remember and feel a little guilty, it'll perk right back up and start putting out all kinds of new growth. This is very cool. Just keep in mind that you're going to need a place for it. Because that's easily 24 inches long and 24 inches. Well, wait. I have a ruler that will do all this for me. And so it is easily 28 inches, which is about 71 centimeters in length. The other branches look like, they're looking like they're going to do the same kind of thing. And that's recent growth on the tip. So this is not done yet. This is a very cool, very interesting plant. He got a little dry the last week, so the leaves are just a little bit wrinkled. And I'd forgotten just how thirsty he gets. The heat is running in the house now, so the air's a little drier. It's warmed back up again, so he's sucking up the solution like the antidote was in it. This is a really cool plant. I think it's very, very pretty. Absolutely love it. And if I didn't have it, I would be looking for it. This is just cool. This came from Rare Herbs Garden, New Jersey, and this is Hoya chinghungensis. wrestling with a beast like that. Guy can work up a thirst. Now we have Hoya microstemma. Now, Hoya microstemma is native to New Jersey. Yeah, right. It's native to New Guinea, and it was first published in 1913 in the Botanische Jahrbucher für Systematik, Pflanzengeschichte und Pflanzengeographie by our friend Friedrich Richard Rudolf Schlechter. And this has been an interesting little plant. The leaves are very pretty. They're nice size. They've got some little texture to them. They feel glabrous. I don't notice any pubescence at all. It put out this really long vine without much. Oh, there's a peduncle. Ha ha. I'm excited. I hadn't seen that before. Hiding in there. Come on, let's get back. Anyway, there's a peduncle in there. It put out this long vine with not much on it, but now it's starting to fill in with leaves. There's a new vine. Don't want to beat that up too much. Coming out the top, which is, I don't know. There you go. So, and it's got very cute little leafage going on. And I'm psyched about that peduncle. It's been doing okay. I'm sure I have a picture. Matter of fact, I have a note that says I've got pictures of what it looked like when it first showed up. It is starting to get to be a bushy plant. There's new vines. Well, there's this one that you've seen, and there's this nice long one. But there's a new vine coming in here, and there's a new vine coming in there. And what is that? That might be a new vine coming in there. So I think this could start to fill in a little bit. The leaves are of various sizes. Other than the new ones that are coming in kind of small, but then there's like a leaf like this. So the leaves are nice, plain, simple, rather pretty. I'm going to have to pay a little bit more attention to this kiddo because I like what it's doing. And we'll see what we can get accomplished with this. I'm so excited to see the blooms. Anyway, this came from Planting with Wine on Etsy, and this is Hoya microstemma. And the next one is my linguistic workout for the day. This is Hoya insularis. Now, Hoya insularis is native to Borneo, and it was initially published by Rudolf Schlechter as Anthropanthus borneensis in 1908 in his Botanische Jahrbucher für Systematik, Pflanzengeschichte und Pflanzengeographie. But Anthropanthus was synonymized into Hoya and was published in 2020 in Wilde Neue Mitteilungen aus dem Botanischen Garten und Museum Berlin-Dahlem by Michaela Roda and Sri Rahayu. So we hit on like 3 languages in that. The first time I saw this plant, I wanted one. It's just very unique and very cool. And those leaves are just wild. And then I saw pictures of the blooms. And I think I've got a picture over here. Should have a picture of what it looked like when it showed up. And than what the blooms and buds look like. And the buds are, it comes over like this, and then they turn inside and face each other in a circle. It's very cool. The leaves are just gorgeous. Let's see if I can get a nice little... They're fairly rigid with this recessed central vein down the middle of them. And this one grew like a bat out of hell from day one. It's not... I thought it would look really neat trailing, and it does. And it's bloomed as a trailing plant. It looks neat as a trailing plant. It's getting caught on everything. But I'm debating whether or not it should go up, like the acicularis earlier. It might be a little late because a lot of the leaves are already set hanging this way, and so they would be doing that rather than doing that, and I don't know. I think it needs a little bit less light. There's a lot of sun stress on these, which I don't think looks particularly good. Get the vacuum. And it looks like a couple of the leaves down here have gotten a little burned, getting too close to the light. So, yeah, I need to rethink the placement of this one. But as I said, when it first arrived and I got it into self-watering, and it's definitely found the reservoir, it grew like crazy. I think, if I remember, it was a nice little plant, but nothing like this. And yeah, grows. At least under my conditions, it grows really well. The leaves are rigid. They're, you see the leaves and they're really skinny, but they feel rather thick. That recessed central vein runs down the back. I probably won't be able to do anything to show that off, but there's some thickness to the leaves. They're not like, they're not like a flat toothpick. They're like a round bit of wire. It's very pretty. I really like this plant. The blooms, the first time you see it bloom, it's like, that's so cool. What pollinates that? And how you want to know how that evolved. That's just very neat. This one came from Rare Foliage Plant Company on Etsy, and this is Hoya insularis. Last Hoya up today is one I never thought I would have. This is Hoya decipulae. Decipulae is native to Sumatra in Indonesia. It was first collected in 2017 in West Lampung and was published in 2019 in Rangwardia by Sri Rahayu and Inggit Puji Astuti. And this one came to me by accident. I was ordering an occultata, and the seller was sending me an occultata, and then it bloomed, and I knew that wasn't occultata. And I eventually got an occultata. So yeah, I was very surprised. I had seen this. When you see blossoms like that online, you think that's very cool. Those are very neat. But I figured it was delicate and frail and prissy, and it's none of those things. This thing started growing from the day it got here. I think I have pictures over here of what it looked like. And it was just a little cutting, and it just grew. It's a thin-leafed Hoya, so as long as it gets its moisture, and, It's found the reservoir. As long as it gets a steady supply of moisture, it's going to keep growing and it's going to keep blooming. It is very, very cool. And there are peduncles. In this top section here, I can see 4 peduncles. There's 3 more, 4 more here, 2 more here. And there's a new vine coming in that has 3 peduncles on it already. This is a very cool plant. If you're fairly new to Hoyas and you're worried that you can't handle something like this, you absolutely can. It's as long as it gets a drink, it's very undemanding. And you get these, I keep showing the blooms, but on this plant, that's what it's all about. Although those leaves are pretty neat too. There's texture to them. They've got a little bit of an undulate edge. Some of them have a little bit of splash, but you're not buying these for the splashy leaves, although the leaves are just beautiful. It is a little messy. It's a dripper, but man, if you want something exotic and something different and something when you show your Hoyas to your friends and they look at you and say, but they all look alike, you can pull out one of these and they're going to be impressed. They're going to think, you're really, really cool. They'll never, I've come to accept that my friends will never really like my Hoyas the way I do. So, I will never be cool amongst my friends for growing these things, which is why I come and talk to y'all, because y'all get it. This is a really interesting plant. This one came from TQ Hoyas on Etsy, and this is Hoya decipulae. This week's question is, and I'm surprised I haven't asked this before, what is your tasty beverage? I know from some of you that no one said they joined me in one of these, but I know some of you like your white wine. Others of you watch me in the morning, so you have your coffee or your tea. No one's mentioned hot cocoa. Although in half the world, it's just starting to get to summer, so hot cocoa doesn't really sound like a good idea for y'all. But drop a note in the comments. What do you settle in with when you're watching my videos? I'm just inquisitive. That was the word we decided upon, inquisitive. And I want to thank you all for choosing to spend a little bit of time with me this week's end. Please remember to click the thumbs up like button, the subscribe button. They're really important to helping my channel grow. There's a little notification bell icon, and if you click on that, YouTube will send you notices or reminders of when I upload a new video. A lot of the products you see me use are available in my Amazon storefront. I get a small commission on the sale of items from the storefront, but it doesn't increase your price at all. There's also a link in the description to my Buy Me a Coffee page if you'd like to help support my Hoya habit, in addition to supporting your own. There's, as usual, links to a couple more videos over here, probably episode 1 of this 1 Year On series and something else I'll throw in. And enjoy the rest of your week's end.